Alright, what is up guys? This is going to be a little bit of a different video than what I normally post. Normally most videos I post just involve me and my friends being absolute idiots.
Obviously.
If this is the first video that you are seeing of me, I would definitely recommend them. So today I am going to talk about my experience playing the Halo Infinite Beta. There are two major things that I should probably talk about before I begin. The first thing is basically that I've never played a Halo game before. In terms of like a FPS shooter, I have played Halo Wars, so I am somewhat aware of what Halo is at least, but I've never actually played a true Halo game. The second thing is actually back in season 14 of Destiny, I put a little bit of effort into grinding Elo, which is super nerdy. I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, during season 14 I was an absolute greaseball. I had some extra flab growing off my neck. My neck beard was just going places, and I had literally grown a fedora off the top of my head. I had to get it surgically removed. Yeah, it's a pretty unfortunate circumstance. You guys should possibly subscribe to pay for my medical bills. I'd appreciate it. But nevertheless, these are the stats that I ended up with. So yeah, definitely a bit on the nerdy side. But without further ado, let's hop into the video. So there's a few things that I would like to talk about, mostly some things that I can see that can be improved on the game. Now, I do realize that it is a beta, so I'm not going to hate on it too much for its lack of content or its terribly slow leveling for the season pass, as that has already been addressed. So the few things that I will talk about are UI/UX, what I would consider to be some sort of damage feedback, and maybe the third thing is just some minor general observations about the game. The first thing is UI/UX. So when I say UI/UX, there's two different things I mean by it: user interface and user experience. Now it's a bit of a mess. So the first time that I hopped into the game, I guess I can start by giving an analogy. You know when you're a child and you get lost in a grocery store? Like you just immediately start crying, and then all of a sudden you just shit yourself? I mean, I'm not sure if any of you guys had that experience, but anyway, that's how I felt when I just hopped into the game. I literally shit myself. Yeah. Anyway, it needs some massive improvements. So, for example, when you get out of the game and you are attempting to see your stats, something that you may notice is that it's very difficult to see your stats from the previous game. Instead of just one input to see your post-game report, such as in Call of Duty, you have to press an entire sequence of inputs to find out your post-game report, and that's just a bit absurd. It should not take that long. My smooth brain cannot handle that many inputs. Like, it's just not gonna work. I am slightly joking, but it really should be a simpler process. The second thing I find a little bit annoying regarding the UI pertains mostly to the location of the minimap. Now, this isn't necessarily a big deal. I'm not sure if the past Halos have been like this. As stated, this is a review coming from someone who had never played a Halo game before. But that being said, I'm just a little unsure of the decision that went into putting it down on the bottom left rather than the top left. It's something that seems very small, but just when every other game has their minimap on the top left, it gets a little bit annoying. I feel like such a weenie complaining about this. I mean, a lot of things in this video that will be talked about are little things. There aren't really many huge issues that are standing out. Being a little nitpicky because there's not too much that I can talk about that's a major issue. It's not like the most recent GTA release where it's just a massive dumpster fire. The second minor thing that I'm going to complain about in this video is feedback cues, especially when you are shooting someone. Now, there are two different types of feedback cues that are possible. There is audio cues and visual cues. Now, I'm going to use Destiny as an example here because they are both two very similar games. Destiny is very good at visual cues. Each time you shoot someone with a single bullet, you will get a visual cue basically saying how much damage that bullet has done. This is true for any type of damage you do to someone in Destiny, and in addition there's also a health bar. Now both of these things are very important because it allows you to see whether or not it is safe to engage someone or challenge them, or just simply back away because you're low in health. Even Call of Duty has some visual cues, which are in the form of hit markers. Whenever you hit someone with a single shot in Call of Duty, you will see a little cross appear on your screen. Now, in addition to those visual cues that I just talked about, there are also audio cues. As you heard previously in the video, there are Call of Duty hit marker sounds, and Destiny has a similar hit marker sound. In Halo, these sort of cues are a bit weak. One thing I would like to note is that the default hit marker sound is set to 8 out of 10. I would suggest going into your settings and changing this to 10 out of 10. So there are a few things that are weird about the Halo feedback cues. Let's start with the visual cues. So one thing to note about the visual cues, they are kind of difficult to see. They are very small, and they sort of tend to blend into the background. Now it's a little less noticeable in this training, but in multiplayer when people are strafing, it's a bit hard to notice those visual cues, especially when you're not looking directly at them. As for the audio cues, they are also weak. Even at 10 volume, I find myself not being able to differentiate between a shooting sound and a hit marker sound. I believe a lot of this problem stems from the fact that the hit marker sounds are very realistic, which sounds fine, except I'd rather it be a bit more discernible rather than realistic.
Targets quickly. 30 seconds remaining.
One thing to also note about the feedback cues is that they are not very consistent. Let's say that you hit 5 shots in a row in a very quick succession. It is likely that you will only hear 2 or 3 hit markers. Now this is just a bit wonky in my opinion, and in my opinion it should be improved. I will end this video by talking about some things that I noticed when playing. These aren't necessarily any negatives or positives, they are just things that I noticed that someone who doesn't play Halo yet may be interested in. The first thing is skill-based matchmaking. To put it simply, I did not notice it that much. Now it could just be because I have never played a Halo game before. As I'm a new player, it is likely that it was also matchmaking with other newer players. But in the few hours that I did play, I did not notice a huge increase in the skill of the people I was playing. When I did play ranked arena though, obviously it is ranked, and especially playing solo, I noticed the skill base pretty heavily. The second thing that I noticed is that this game has a very high time to kill with not too many one-shot kill abilities. This kind of leads to having to run around with your teammates a bit, especially for sweatier games, and it kind of reminds me of way back in Destiny 2 when it was first released. In this game, you are probably not going to be 1v4ing an entire team just because of how high the time to kill is and how important team shots are. The third thing that I noticed pertains to melees. In my opinion at the moment they are a little bit wonky. I can't exactly say why they are wonky, they just feel off. This may have something to do with the hit detection or hitbox or hit reg, but something is slightly off with melees that leads to me T-Rex arming a bit too often. Now there is the possibility that I am just bad at the game, which is a very good possibility, but either way I'm just going to say that the melees feel off. So that is about it for my observations today. I guess I will end the video by just giving some closing remarks. So all in all, my general opinion of the beta is that it was good, but it's nothing incredible. Now this may be a bit of an unpopular opinion, especially how excited the community seems to be about Halo, but as someone who has never played a Halo in the past, this just kind of comes off as being an enjoyable FPS game, but nothing incredible. Now that being said, there's nothing inherently terrible about the game. Those who have liked past Halos will definitely like this game due to a lot of the nostalgia factor, and those who have never played a Halo before or dislike Halo may like or dislike it, but I would definitely try it out as it is free to play. But like most free to play games, it is likely that a lot of content will be hidden behind a paywall, especially regarding cosmetic items. But that is about it for the video. If you like or dislike, if you agreed or disagreed, feel free to leave a comment. If you would like me to make a video regarding something that I'm a bit more informed about, such as Destiny, please let me know in the comments below, and definitely check out my other videos. Thank you guys, and see you all later.